But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Muted. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That is right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back, boys and girls, to the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. This is the 9x9's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. It is Sunday, July 28th, day 2 of Olympic Volleyball. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto. I want to put it out there right away that if you all are tuning in to hear Everett cry about Team Canada, then you are sickos. You are sickos, and you should be ashamed of yourselves for rooting for his misery. We will certainly get to that. But it's good vibes today. Everett and I both have some beverages just off screen. I am now officially 30 years of age.
First and foremost, happy birthday, Mr. Rob St. Clair. He is now being an old man reaching the 30s, like me. So.
Just be careful. I'll be enjoying that just barely off camera. Yeah, I'm joining Everett in his 30s. I had a good day watching volleyball. I hope you all did as well. Everett, yourself included. Did you have a good day watching volleyball in general?
In general. I mean, like we can get to my feelings first and foremost. I have said repeatedly in preparation for these Olympics that had you asked me a year ago if this specific national team would have been at the Olympics, I would have said no. We had a bit of a run last year at the Olympic qualifying tournament and had a fantastic VNL. Us being there for 3 straight years is amazing. Anything else is icing on top. We'll talk about it in a bit.
Yes,
but
you have been consistent about that. You've been very consistent about that.
I have said this before. We played a very, very good team today, and we played pretty good, but not great. And we're a team that if we're going to be able to get wins or if for us to get wins, especially at the Olympic Games, we need to play great. And that is what it is. So, but before we talk about the last game of the day, Rob, I do want to start on the women's side. Our first time touching the women's side at all, where Italy got a nice little 3-1 win against the Dominican Republic. They did see a little bit of pushback. Set number 2 and then into set number 3. Things were looking pretty good for the Dominican Republic. They were starting to open things up, but then Paula Egonu. Oh my goodness. I think she had 12 points in the third set, Rob.
Whoa.
She was absurd. Absolutely automatic. And you could tell that she got ignited. She got turned on, and it was just all her. Yeah, let's pull up the set scores here. Yeah, exactly. 12 points, 10 kills, 2 aces in set number 3. And at that point, kind of everything changed. And that was when it really became all Italy. Italy reached that next level. We did see some pushback from the Dominican Republic, though. I did really like how they looked. Gaia was pretty good on the right side. Both of the Martinez sisters were pretty solid as well, Pena Isabel, but overall, they just couldn't overcome what Paolo Egonu was bringing today for Italy. She looked good, and they looked good as a team.
Well, that's not very many teams in the world are going to be able to overcome great Paola Egonu. And so I'll be real transparent. I did not watch this game. This was at 2 a.m. my time last night. I didn't have time yet to catch up on it. What I have been able to look at, though, is that Italy was up 23-19 in the second, and the Dominican Republic stormed all the way back to win it 26-24. So that's a 7-1 run in clutch time against a really good team. So that's a very nice sign in terms of signs of life for them, especially after one of their players got yanked from the tournament for a positive doping test.
Yeah,
so I wanted to ask you about that, Everett. How are the vibes on the Dominican side? How is their body language?
It didn't seem to bother them. I don't think she was a starter by any means, and I think she was someone who was somewhat new to the team. So to me, it doesn't seem like it bothered the core whatsoever. There was a little bit of rust, especially in that first set. That first set was more of a feeler outer type of situation. Like Miriam Silla led scoring in the first set. So it was just a bit of an awkward one. Just as I said, a bit of a feeler outer. In the second set, like it just seemed, at one point, Italy had like a 6 or 7 point lead, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna get to go to bed early. Like I'm gonna get to go back to go to sleep. Like, should I like just maybe nap this out?" And then all of a sudden, Dominican Republic just started making those making those changes and fighting back. They're just such an athletic team and a physical team all around that if
Streaky.
you leave them exactly. If you leave them open whatsoever, they're just able to get those kills. Gaia is especially like when she's jacked up and ready to go, they're ready to go. So they kind of caught Italy off guard a little bit at the end of that second set with the way that they were able to push back, because at that point, Italy was in cruise control mode. Right, they were just cruising down the highway. There was no cops in sight, and there was no traffic. And then, luckily, just for the sake of the fans and just the entertainment side, Dominican Republic brought it back, and it brought out the best version of Paulo Agonu. And I think, you know what? I think Julio Velasco is thanking the Dominican team right now. Is thanking the Dominican team right now, because he put that light underneath them a little bit. And I think if you're Türkiye or the Dutch, who are the other two teams in that pool, you're looking at Dominican and you're very, very wary of them, especially if you're Türkiye with the injuries they have right now.
It's kind of just like we talked about yesterday with the Italian men. If you're one of these really, really good teams and you manage to get through a pool play relatively smoothly and you're not challenged yet, that actually could be a bad thing for your chances to win a medal, because when you get to the quarterfinal round and you're going to be playing somebody who's good and deserves to be there, having been battle tested already in the Olympic Games is a good thing. So I agree with you. Velasco might be this might be best case scenario for Italy. Get 3 points, which is very important, but still have to fight through it a little bit and have to figure it out. And it seems like they were able to do that. I mean, Agonu's numbers were terrific, 25 overall. Danesi, second in scoring for Italy with 11, including 4 blocks. But somebody pointed out in the chat, and this is the number that jumped off the page to me, 38 errors for the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, that's the highest we've seen so far in the
31 unforced.
Yeah, it was messy at times. And that's like, the Dominican kind of shot themselves in the foot repeatedly in this match, where they would make a great play and have an open net even, and just squander it time and time again. Were they squandering it? And it really sucks, especially when like Brenda Castillo, because Brenda was a little bit hot and cold in this match. It took her a little bit to get going, but once she did, like, it was getting going. And the Dominican Republic kind of left some things on the table here. They kind of left some things on the table there, and I was hoping to see them kind of push back a little bit, and they didn't really bring it in the fourth set.
That sounds like the comparison from the Dominican women to the Cuban men is kind of spot on, at least in the manner of play style of this match, because we've seen some alarmingly high error numbers from the Cuban women as well. Like, man, 31 unforced errors in 4 sets is brutal. That's almost 8%. Almost 8 points per set to Italy for free. Not a good recipe for success, but the fact they were able to take a set is impressive to me, and I guess we'll see how they can keep it going. One thing I was also curious about for Italy is the second outside hitter spot. It's going to be Caterina Bossetti. I think that's pretty much non-negotiable now, given the injuries to both Pietrini and De Grati. But she was not very good, at least on offense. 0% efficiency, 3 for 11 with 3 errors, did 2 blocks for 5 points total. Tough matchup, because Dominican's really big and physical, and that's not a team against whom you expect Bossetti to score a lot of points, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Yeah,
no, she definitely struggled in this one. It wasn't her best outing by any stretch of the imagination. They did bring Giovannini in at one point, and she was all right for a little bit, but obviously they went back to Bossetti, and I think you have to. Right? I think
I agree.
Go back to Bossetti. If she's struggling, take her out a little bit, bring in Giovannini, and then go back to Bossetti for the start. But I think this is a decent start for Italy. I think there's a lot of room for them to grow, and that's a good thing. And for the Dominican Republic, this is a good first match to build off of, even though you didn't get any points out of it.
Right. I'm a little surprised that Italy got outblocked. 13 for the Dominican Republic to Italy's 9. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a lot of those were on Bossetti or on like just in out of system traps when you're just really big and there's nowhere for you to go. Any thoughts on the blocking game?
I mean, they're just so physical, right? So even when they're blocking against Paolo Agonu, or they're blocking against the middles, or they're blocking against it, like they've got good matchups. Other than Navierka Martes, they've got good matchups pretty much everywhere. So they just have that physicality, and that's the one way. Like they need their blocking game to be on point, right? Especially because the way that they're going to be playing, they get a lot of like bang bang points. They're not skilled in the way that they have like very, very good touch on the ball, but they're skilled in the way that they're athletic, that they keep a lot of balls alive. So there's a lot of bang bang plays at the net when you're playing against the Dominican Republic, and they're so strong in blocking that they're going to win a lot of those. I think, it's best if you really like, especially what you saw Italy do is in those situations, they could pull it off the net, kind of slow it down a little bit, because when it's bang, bang like that, it's really in the Dominican favors. They would pull it off the net, slow it down, and then just deliver a high ball to Agonu. And she was just going high off the top. And that's what made her so like, bro, she had some cuts inside the block that were absolutely ridiculous, but a lot. Yeah,
like 2-2
like
cross body,
like disgusting. Gaia did some like pretty nasty stuff on the other side too. Like I won't lie, like she was really physical, and at times like the Dominican Republic were doing some pretty nasty stuff. But Agonu was clinical. Like she was going hard cross body, she's going high up over the top. She was using the block. Like she really used the toolbox on this one, and it's like it looks like she sharpened everything and got everything shined up. So I'm going to be interested to watch her throughout the rest of this tournament.
That's very scary for the rest of the world. If you have Paola Egonu locked in a 9 a.m. match on day 1 of the Olympic Games, good luck. Now, the 9 a.m. factor is definitely worth pointing out too. I'm just going to keep an eye on kind of the pattern of how teams look in those games. Like, is it challenging for them to get up and get ready to go? Because that is earlier than volleyball players at this level ever play like major matches.
It honestly has to maybe be looked at, and maybe we just need to rock, like, because we're very used to playing 4 matches in a day in a volleyball schedule. That is very usual. So I don't know why we're not at least starting at noon like you would for the VNL, right? You go a typical like noon 3-6, that's what I think they should have done. Like back in the previous Olympics, when you're trying to cram 6 games into a day, I understand you start at 9 a.m., you space them 2.5 hours apart, and you like try and cram them in the best you can. But we only have 4 now. Like you could do 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m. like very comfortably, and that would make a big difference for the athletes. It absolutely would. These 9 a.m. games, I think they're going to be real random. Right.
Yeah.
Whoever has that 9 a.m. quarterfinal, that's the worst. I think that's the absolute worst.
I can't believe an Olympic elimination game is going to be played at 9 a.m. local. That's just like tough to wrap my mind around.
Yeah, it is really not ideal for us on that one.
Well, we'll see. Anything else about this game? Are you ready to move on to the other women's game, which I did watch and was an absolute banger?
The other one was an absolute banger, but no, this one was pretty good. I think it's going to be setting up some interesting storylines for the rest of this pool.
All right. Thank you for carrying me on that game, Everett. That was a very good breakdown. This one I'm excited to dive into because this was absolutely awesome. Poland beats Japan 3-1 to open up the play in Pool B, an overtime thriller in really both kind of the third and the fourth, especially the fourth. And my immediate reaction to this, especially with some of the chaos late in that fourth set, was this is the Olympic Games, boys and girls. You had a dig kill score from Seki on the Polish side, and then Ina Ue sending over a free ball into the middle of the net like a point or two later. This is the Olympic Games. Chaos is going to happen. Players are rattled. Like, it's just different. It's beautiful.
Did you enjoy this game, Rob?
I enjoyed this game very much. It was very, very fun to watch.
May I remind you that you said in our preview that Serena Koga was not a world-class level scorer, that she would not be able to. Are you not entertained?
She was awesome.
Are you not entertained? Like I don't understand where that came from. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Well, I've got something to remind you. I've got something to remind you. Do you remember when we talked about this matchup when you claimed that Agnieszka Korneluk was not going to be able to block against Japan's speed? How'd she do today? 17 points, 12 for 18 attacking, and five blocks.
5 blocks. Yeah, she was pretty damn good. Although I do think that a lot of her stop blocks did come from like some middle plays, but that'll be, we'll discuss that at another time and out of system stuff. But this was an absolute banger. I was sad that it didn't go 5. I was really sad that it didn't go 5. But hey, like. This is like you said, this was Olympic volleyball. And if Poland is going to want to establish themselves as one of the top teams in the world, they need to win games like this.
Exactly.
They need to win games like this. Now I know you guys are all hating on the Comic Sans jersey. I don't think it's that bad compared to the Americans who are stuck in 2016 and the French who look like they got it. Like, yeah, we're not even going to start about the French jerseys.
What on earth is going on there?
I thought Poland looked clean and deadly today. And they did it against the Japanese team who was really good and executing as they should, right? Japan didn't play a lesser game today. Poland was just that good and bested them fairly, and I think that was a massive match for this Polish team. Stysiak was clinical, and their block was outstanding.
The block was terrific. That was a very good coaching performance by Stefano Lavarini, I thought, in preparing their blockers to be in the right places against Japan's speed. And if you don't have a really good scouting plan and training plan, it's really hard to play that matchup because you don't really see volleyball like that from anybody else in the world. And in a similar vein, I think that Poland, learning within this match in itself to dig deep and win a game against a good opponent in Olympic Games is a really positive sign if you're a fan of Polish women's volleyball, because every single one of these players, this is their first Olympic volleyball match ever, and they had to dig deep against a hard team to play against and in really key late set clutch situations. Even the third set, Poland was up by 1,000,000. They were up 20-13 at one point, and Japan went on an insane run and still somehow Poland was able to dig just deep enough to fend them off. And just to the American broadcasters kind of talked about it yesterday in the USA men versus Argentina game, but I think it's even more true against Japan, men or women. You have to change your own expectations on what balls are going to be dug and which ones aren't. You have to it honestly takes a legitimate mindset shift to just expect every ball that you hit to be dug by somebody. And Japan digs balls, right? It's not only is it Olympic volleyball, but it's also Japanese volleyball. They just dig balls that other teams just don't, and which explains some of the low efficiency numbers on the Polish side. Both outside hitters, Łukasik 7 for 29, 3 errors, Menjik 8 for 22, 2 errors. Just a lot of continues because balls are just getting dug by a great defensive team.
But Poland did such a good job at limiting their errors and just going for the continues. Especially when you look at the errors on the Japanese side, 13 unforced errors compared to Poland's 5 or 6. And then Japan also got blocked 14 times compared to only 5 on the Polish side, right? Combined, Poland's errors was 11, which is less than the 13 unforced error Japan made. They were just able to stay patient. And this is why, if you look at the efficiencies at their left sides for Poland, Łukasik didn't have a great game on paper. Nope. She was 7 for 29. And the same thing, who's the other one? Oh, Menjik. Yeah. She had 10 points, 8 for 22. It was the same thing. But they were able to stay efficient in the way that they weren't making errors and they were keeping rallies going and allowing, especially down the middle, right? Poland was really efficient down the middle. Obviously, Korneluk was the cornerstone. She was 12 for 18. The fact that you had 18
great
attempts,
volume. That's
great
so
volume.
Good.
But even Jurczyk, we talked about it, right? She's super efficient. She's 5 for 6. She shows up when she needs to be. And also is the only player on the Polish side to not make any errors, which is massive if you're coming in as a middle for serving. So I really like what I saw from this Polish team, because they really forced Japan, who's not a team to be known to make a lot of errors, to make a lot of errors, and that was in the way they played.
Well said. Well said. That's just good, clean, well coached volleyball to be in the right places. And even when you're going to get scored on sometimes by a good team that runs it fast and that has Serena Koga, who was awesome tonight. I mean, 24 points to lead, or I guess awesome today. It was 1 p.m. local. 23 for 52, attacking, big time volume. She did make 11 errors, got blocked 8 times, which is a lot, but she did everything that she possibly could on offense for that team, especially I think it was her serve where they made the run in the third that really kind of tipped the momentum back. And I don't think they wouldn't have even been competitive in that fourth set if it weren't for that run that they made.
Yeah.
So Japan did everything they could. I agree. They just got beaten by a slightly better team who is bigger and was well coached enough to play the matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this Polish team looks
really
dialed, looks dialed in. And I am going to continue my theory in the fact that I think that the Japanese women bully their coach.
Yeah, I noticed it so many times
in timeouts. He's saying something, and then literally
Kojima just jumps right in front.
Literally, it's almost like an anime scene where Kojima or Koga will just step in front of the camera, and they'll just do it so casually and just start talking over him. He'll just kind of sit there being like, "Whoa," and just pull back on. It's great, but I do think that this Japanese team has a lot more to offer throughout this tournament. But this Polish team looks good,
real good. And yeah, that overtime in the fourth was all-time beautifully chaotic, entertaining volleyball. I mean, I brought it up earlier, but the Seki dig kill, so we were rewatching it earlier today. I was rewatching it with my wife and my parents, who came over for my birthday, and we were watching this game because my parents have seen a lot of volleyball. And we had this 4 set on. We were all just even though I knew the result, we were all screaming about how all the plays were going. A dig kill and then a free ball sent into the net a point or two later. It's so ridiculous. And then we got to give credit to Martina Czernianska for coming off the bench and ripping that hybrid ace to the zone 1 sideline to win that set 28-26. And you can't overstate the importance, at least from a tiebreaker perspective, that Poland got this done in 4.
Yeah, the fact
massively important that they got it done in 4.
The fact that they were able to get it done in 4, and the fact that Japan wasn't able to push it to 5,
big.
I I think my Canadian team is dead just because we weren't able to get 1 point against Slovenia. That's how important I think it is to not lose 3-0.
And Japan gets a free win against Kenya that the Canadian men are not going to get necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you don't need to remind me. I know. I know. But super stoked for Poland on this one. I think this is a team that looks really good right now.
Yeah, fun match.
Yeah, it was a really fun match. It was a good back and forth. There was a lot of good banter going on. Honestly, the Discord has been absolutely on fire.
Tremendous.
Recently.
It's been so good.
It's been so good. There's a couple annoying people, but there's Monty Johnson has been on an absolute roll recently.
Shout out to Monty, one of the OGs.
He is an absolute OG for sure, and he has just been killing it recently. But yeah, the Discord has been an absolute blast to hang out in so far.
Shout out to the community. We love you all very much. All right, I don't have any pool assets made for the women's because there's only one game that's happened in pools B and C, and there's nothing really in the standings to look at so far. There certainly will be tomorrow after we have at least one game played by every team. So we'll look at that. Anything else, Everett, on the women's side before we get moving forward?
No, I'm excited to it feels like we just barely dipped our toe in for the women.
Yeah.
For the
I kind of wish that it started with the day of 4 women's games instead of just 2.
Yeah.
Just for the viewer, just for my sake.
But then again, it does make sense that why would you some of this? Yeah, so
it makes sense.
It makes sense on a schedule wise. But I also agree. I wish I'd be watching some more women so far. But
well, yeah, we get all women's tomorrow, and we'll talk about the schedule at the very end of the show.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Before we get to that, a couple things to remind you of. The first is that we have a link if you are interested to hook you up with a VBTV subscription that I think, I'm not sure if it gives you a discount yet. It should in the very near future. At the very least, it kicks back to us if you use the link in the video description here to pick up a subscription to VBTV. And for you volleyball fans that watch this channel, you all already know that you're going to want this. A lot of you already have an access to this platform. So when the Super Lega season comes around, or if you're a beach fan and you want to watch a lot of beach volleyball right after the Olympics, you're going to want to pick up a subscription to VBTV. And if you like what we do very much, we encourage you to use the exact link that's in the video description here if you want to renew your VBTV subscription. So give that a look if you would.
Well said. Nicely done. And while you're at it, you can go out over to shop.vw.com to pick up some of the official Paris 24 game balls from Mikasa. You got the indoor, you got the beach, and you can also get them in all the different versions, from the official game balls all the way to the mini balls that you can get signed and throw out your brother and stuff like that. So those are always a good purchase. Maybe you're a coach and you want to get them for the entire team. Imagine practicing this year in your club gym with the official Paris 2024 game balls. Like,
that'd be a pretty big flex.
That would be an absolute flex. You'd be walking into the tournaments ready to go. So make sure you guys head over to shop.vw.com.
There is a link in our description as well that takes you directly there that you should use.
Even better.
Yeah.
Nice and efficient.
We got it all. We got it all here for you.
You know what was not efficient today, Rob, was France's win over Serbia.
Yeah. What the heck was this? This is one of the weirdest games I've ever seen.
This is exactly what I would expect from a France versus Serbia game. Two teams who can only keep concentration for a little bit.
The sets that France won, sets 2, 3, and 5, they destroyed Serbia. They destroyed them.
Yes.
Which honestly they should have. Like this probably should have been a 3-dong if France just stays a little bit locked in and makes some slightly better choices in personnel and timing and a lot of things. I think decision making is a big thing to talk about in this game, because I do not know what Igor Kolakovic is doing for Serbia.
The Discord was saying that it was a lottery system, that he was literally like maybe pulling out of a gumball machine, and it would just like open up the piece of paper like, okay, I'm going to play you. Because we saw Drazen Luberic lead them in set number 1
and then get benched for no reason.
And then get benched halfway through the second set.
He was good for the whole match. He was 12 for 25 and he hit 400.
Yeah.
And he's your best and most important player, and you're yanking him for a geriatric Atanasievich?
Yeah, I really didn't understand
that. Then the other thing is, just how bad does Uroš Kovacevic have to play for you not to go back to him the following set? How many times do you have to bench him and start him again and then bench him again for you to keep Miran Kujundžić in there, who was the only reason you were in the game?
Miran Kujundžić was so good. His
awesome.
4-to-4 shots were so dynamic. You didn't give Peric a sniff at all of the court until the very, very end of the 5th set, when you were absolutely already getting slapped. This was complete and utter mismanagement from the Serbian coaching staff. And it's almost like, like someone needs to start looking into Kolakovic and seeing if he has any gambling debts going on, because it's almost seemed like he was trying to do everything he could to lose this game for Serbia. But on the other side of the net, Rob, you had a French team that when they were good, they were really good, but they would just kind of lollygag. They were just kind of frolicking in the field in sets 1 and 4, where they just weren't decisive enough, and they weren't taking their opportunities to really get ahead and just take advantage of that full match. Which, to be honest, is kind of what I expect from this French team. Engapeth struggled throughout the match.
Early.
And if you're talking about why wasn't someone subbed off, you have to look at Irvin Engapeth, who overall was 10 for 32 with 10 errors. So overall, he had a 0% efficiency. Now, that was heavily weighted to the beginning of the match, and he crawled his way back up to get to even throughout, and it ended up being pretty good for them. But this French team was not dialed in like we would hope they would be for this match.
Agreed. Now, the guy that deserves a lot of the credit here is the guy that made it onto the thumbnail for this episode. That's Trevor Cleven.
No.
First of all, what are we doing
Cleve, yes.
not starting him? You have Cleve, yes, big time. 23 points to lead all scorers and didn't see the court until late in the first set. Gianni, I don't know how new you are, but I got something you got to know here. Your team just won Olympic gold 3 years ago. This team that you inherited won Olympic gold 3 years ago. You inherited 10 of the same 12 players from that roster. You inherited all 7 players that started a gold medal match and won. I think your choice for your starting lineup in the Olympics should be pretty darn easy. Why aren't you starting Trevor Cleveno in an Olympic game? What are we doing? Well, hopefully he learned, because Cleveno was unbelievable. Unreal. 23 points, 17 for 30, over 50% efficiency, and 5 stuff blocks. Awesome.
Okay. I didn't know he had 5 stuff blocks. That is absolutely
great.
In one ace two. He was unreal. There was that one play where it basically he ran a step around, but just like inside, like a slide on the inside off one foot and crushed it to the far sideline. And I was just sick. Like, I'm pretty sure that was where a bunch of us went, that was sick. That was sick. That was sick. Just the Discord was just one big long, that was sick. But Rob, one thing that wasn't sick was these French jerseys.
Yeah. What are we doing here?
Okay. These jerseys. Now, in the pyramid that is Ontario volleyball, there's always like the regional team cup. And now Ontario is divided into 6 teams. And at a certain point, the OVA just started providing jerseys. And you just show up and there'd just be a bunch of different sizes, you know? And generally the higher numbers were like the larger sizes too. That's what I feel like these French jerseys are. They just kind of showed up and it's just kind of like, oh, you're number 14. Well, yeah, you have an extra large, but
yeah, the gradient fade at the bottom of the jersey is really bad. The shorts stripes are bad. The jersey numbers being way too thick is real bad. The color blue is wrong. Like France is a royal blue team.
Yeah,
they're like literally Le Bleu is what they're called, for God's sakes, and they're going with this random navy blue fade into white, which makes no sense. Yeah. Bad choices there. Not a fan. They're going to be very low on my Olympic jersey rankings whenever I finally put them out.
Yeah, no, they have to be at the bottom, like right down there with the USA.
The USA. They're not as bad as the US. Nothing ever will be, but they're close. Jersey karma. Jersey karma is real. It causes you to drop 2 sets to Serbia on your home court in the Olympic Games.
Yeah, but overall, this French team, I think like Tilfort came out at one point and was pretty dynamic. Got a few points. Like this French team has the ability to just crash and burn, right? Or sometimes. It has the ability to just to soar sky high.
You know who was really good, really consistent, and was definitely not the problem? Jean Patry.
Jean Patry was
22 points, 19 for 36, only 2 errors. That is terrific. And 3 stuff blocks. I really love his game very much, and I think that France is going to continue to lean on him as best they can. He's super good. He's one of the most underrated opposites in the world, and I love watching him play. He's not the flashiest. That's okay. He hits good, big, smooth, deep shots.
Yeah, he's smooth. He is very, very smooth. I mean, he kept them afloat early on, 7 points in that first set alone. But once Cleveno came in, it really opened some things up. But once again, I really hope that Kolakovic just keeps on with this idiotic way that he's picking his lineups, especially, looking in his last match of the tournament. That's really where I need him to be in peak stooge mode.
So the only way that I can see any of that, well, the outside hitter thing, like continuing to go back to Kovacevic, like that will never make sense. But I certainly hope that Dražen Luburic did not get hurt. It's like I feel like the only way that you pull him out when you did, and we saw him like in a double sub at one point again later. I hope that he didn't get hurt, And I don't know that, but like that is like the only way that pattern would make any amount of sense, unless Kolakovic is the biggest stooge on planet Earth. So hopefully something comes out that Luburic is either hurt or not, or at least we like know the answer, because he's Serbia's most important player. And like, I mean, Everett, you for example, it's going to have to play Canada. That's going to play Canada against Serbia later. If you're playing against Atanasijevic, like every one of Canada's blockers should be licking their chops at that matchup.
Absolutely. I'd much rather play Bata than I would Drazen Luburic. Like Drazen Luburic can be dangerous. Like,
totally.
He can be a killer out there.
Serbia's not here without him.
No,
Serbia does not qualify for this without
Luburic. Is not here without him. Like, I don't know how many points Atanasijevic scored in the VNL, but I don't think it's very many.
Atanasijevic today, 10 for 28 with 9 errors, just barely over 0 efficiency.
Yeah.
10 points only.
Which is like kind of the thing for me is like, France, how are you going to 5 when the team on the other side of the net is known for being strong in the opposite position, and their opposite was like barely even efficient? Like, what is going on out here?
Yeah, no, like the stats are inflated by the 3 sets that Serbia got destroyed, especially the 5th. I mean, it was 12-2.
Berkay's saying that Luburic got an ankle injury.
Oh man, that would really suck.
That would really suck.
That would suck for Serbia. That would suck for the tournament. It would be good for the other teams in Pool A, but yeah, we don't want to see people get hurt at the Olympic Games. That would be too bad. Marko Pedraštinin, by the way, led Serbia in scoring from the middle. 7 stuff blocks for the legend. That was quite a performance, and so that helped. I mean, it was late blocking for Serbia in the first that won it, and then to me it was Miran Kujundžić's energy in the 4th that won that.
I mean, Kujundžić was fantastic. 10 for 15, no errors on the day. He had a 66% efficiency.
Spicy.
Yeah, just don't start him against Canada. Don't start him against Canada, please.
Yeah, don't do that. Definitely put Kovacevic out
maybe
there.
Start him against Slovenia. That might be an idea. But not Canada. No, not definitely. Definitely not Canada.
No, definitely not.
Oh, Rob, I'm tired.
I want to see. Well, do you want to just get into
no?
it?
Let's keep going. What do you want to see?
I don't really. There's nothing else that I really need to say about this match. We'll talk about the implications and the standings of this pool a little bit later, but maybe it'll be good down the line for France to get pushed. Kind of the logic that we've been using about some of the other really good teams that are contenders, but I don't see it that way for France. I don't see it that way for France and like their body language, and like them dropping 2 sets to Serbia means nothing to me, but them lacking engagement. Because they're better than Serbia, noticeably, and you saw it in the 3 sets that they won.
They just dominated.
Oh man, not even close
in the 5th set. It
was 7-1. It was 12-2.
Yeah, it was. But that's the thing, is that Serbia is that streaky team. They can go either way with that. You know, they're like one of those doors in an old Western movie that just like swings back and forth.
Oh yeah. That is what Serbia is. One of those creaky,
they're like a bi girl
Western
at college.
Saloon doors. I like that. Ooh, that one might need to go in the 9x9 Hall of Fame. Oh boy. Anything else about? Sorry. The last thing I have to say about France. Oh my God, that home crowd was so good.
Took a little time to get going, but once they got going, god damn, awesome. That was a vibe in there. That was a vibe in there. That was for
special vibe in there.
For sure.
It's so good to see the Olympic Games generally and Olympic volleyball played with fans in the stands again, and the crowds for every match, even ones
the 9 a.m.ers. Like, it has been a sold out venue for every single match, every single one. It's been great to see. But this is the volleyball trap, Rob Sinclair. This is the volleyball trap, is that every 4 years, it's like, oh my God, we're selling out arenas. Oh my God, people are caring. Be like, oh my God, maybe we're going to have, but no one cares afterwards. No one cares afterwards, because you know what? We have the most apathetic fan base in sport.
By far.
Handball fans are more interested in their own sport than volleyball fans. Ultimate Frisbee fans are more interested in their own sport than volleyball fans.
Now, of course, while Everett is 100% correct, we are talking about the greater worldwide fan base, not the viewers of this channel, because y'all are the OGs and y'all are the diehards.
Yeah,
and it is through you It is through you that watch this show that we are going to build this thing, and we're going to capitalize on the momentum of the Olympic Games. At least that's the plan.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But
it's time.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm sorry in advance, Everett. Not only did Serbia kind of screw up your pool by taking a point, but unfortunately Canada, while they led in the fourth down 2-1 against Slovenia, they were unable to close it out and take the point the same way that Serbia did. Slovenia wins 3-1. Slovenia went up 2-0. Canada took the third. They looked good in the fourth, but kind of like you said at the beginning of the show, Canada needs to play close to perfect or perfect volleyball, and just kind of didn't do that today.
Bro, we streaky.
Yeah.
We real streaky. Way too streaky today. We looked nervous early on. We made kind of silly errors. And unfortunately, the player who kind of looked the worst today, I think, for Canada is arguably our most experienced player, someone who's been there before, and that was Stephen Marr. Marr did not have a great match, going 10 for 33 with 2 errors. It just seemed like I think a lot of the credit has to go to Slovenia. They played a really, really fantastic game. I was interested to see how they were going to respond once Sonchek Stern got injured, but eventually he came back, and it really didn't seem to affect his game that much. Slovenia was really, really good, and we were just all right.
Yeah,
we weren't bad. We were just missing in a few different areas, but I do think that just because of Serbia getting that point off of France and us not getting any points off of Slovenia, had we gone to 5 in this, it would be a totally different story. It would have been a completely different story, but we weren't able to pull it out. Slovenia was better than us, and they also looked better. Those might be the best jerseys in the tournament.
Jersey.
The only thing I don't like about them is the white line down the side. I wish it just continued as all the way around. But other than that, they're really, really good. Yeah, that might be the end of it. It's going to take something pretty serious to happen for us, in the rest of this pool, but you never know. It could happen. Things are open. Once again, just happy to be here. Just happy to be here.
It is good that Canada's here. And I was really hoping, if not maybe expecting, that Canada would be able to jump on Slovenia in Slovenia's first ever set of Olympic volleyball.
That's what I was hoping.
Especially when Tonček Stern, it looked like either dislocated or did something to a finger on his left hand in the 4th or 5th point of the match, really early. And we had that pause, and we had him getting walked to the locker room by the medical staff. And yes, he was able to come back with tape on his left hand, and he played well. But Slovenia in their first set of Olympic volleyball ever, and having that happen to them so early, the fact that Canada wasn't able to take advantage of that was a very early concern.
Yeah,
I'm really
we did there for a second, right? Because Lepke went out and we were down, it was 10-5, and Lepke went out and put us on a 5-point serving run, and it looked like we were turning on. And then, but this was the Maple Volleys all fucking summer, where we would go on these big runs, and you'd be like, "Yo, we got this! We've got hold of this set," and then right like that, the other team would
give it right back.
We'd give it right back.
That reminds me a lot of the United States in the 2021 Olympics. We did the same thing. We would go on 5-point runs, and then you would blink, and the score would be tied again.
Yeah, it's just these lapses of judgment where in quick succession everything breaks down. I thought Arthur Schwartz was really good.
He was good.
He was really good. He was getting points scoring out of 4. He was scoring down the line. He was hitting faster balls, slower balls.
Especially when it became clear that he was going to have to do a little bit more with Marr struggling to terminate. Arthur stepped up in that role and played well.
Yeah, I thought and this is the difference between, I think, Olympic volleyball, and I think it is Slovenia also is a very, very good team. The last time we played them, we played them tough. We played them to 5. This is a team that dominated throughout the VNL, and I think this is a team that is a dark horse for a medal out there. But it kind of felt like 6 of our 7 players played positively. And there was just one of them. Like if I was to give like almost like a color grade type like to green to red, I think the majority of the players on Team Canada would be like a light green, not like a deep green, but like a light green, with one of them being maybe in the yellow to orange area. And that one guy is Stephen Marr. And that's the most important with the way that our system is set up and the way that this team is set up, is that he can't be the guy who's in the yellow or red. He needs to be the guy who's at least in the green. And that was very clear once again today.
What I expect, Everett, and you should feel good about this. Remember the last time that Stephen Marr had a bad match? Or remember one of the very notable last times? It was against Argentina in Ottawa.
Oh, yeah.
And what did he do the following match?
Oh, he dismantled your USA.
He did.
So
he did. He careered and he dismantled us. And we'll talk about the pool in a minute, but Canada's best chance now to advance is to take at least 1 point from France. And if Stephen Marr responds the way that I know he can, then he is going to be ready to go against France, and he's going to have to. And that actually bodes well for Canada's ability to make up some ground in the standings in that one. So I'll try and give you a positive spin zone there. The other thing I really wanted to say about this match, I was very impressed by Slovenia's offense in relation to the Canadian block. All 3 of Slovenia's wings are tremendous against big blocking teams. They're really good at using hands. I mean, Canada only had 4 stuff blocks in the match in 4 sets, and I just thought that there were so many situations that there were so many more situations that Canada was accomplishing their goals into trapping Slovenia in out-of-system situations against 4 or 6 hands. And Slovenia was terminating those balls off the hands that I expected to get slowed down. And I really think that was the difference in the entire game, was Chabel, Stern, and Earnout, their ability to kill balls out of system using the block. And maybe that's some kind of deficiency in Canada's hand placement, but I don't really think it is.
No, I think that's their game.
I think it's their game.
That's
their
game.
They were really good at it.
They were really, really good, and that's how they dominated throughout the VNL too. Like at one point, one of our bigger trolls in the Discord was saying that, like, oh, I'm just going to go back and watch Poland versus Japan because this game was boring, which it wasn't. But Slovenia does play, like, especially comparatively to, like, France that we had just watched. Like, Slovenia does play a very, like, boring style of game.
Sort of.
They go for the hands. Like, they play a little bit gritty. Yeah, they were very, 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 very good today. Like, this was a very, very good team. I thought Kovacic made timely digs, big digs at big times.
There was a ball late in the 4th set
that he
I think it was he took one. And then
Dude.
there was a pass that he made off of a Finn McCarthy serve that he absolutely pinned. And Kovacic dove to his right and put it right on top of Ropret's head. I'm like, man, like, you can't ask for a better serve than that. You can't ask for more pressure from Canada, who's not always built to be the best serving team in the world. But, like, that was a rocket, and Kovacic made a world-class play. And, like, Slovenia did that garbage on defense a lot that game. What was that play in the 3rd set where Marr got the no-looky jump set out of the pipe to a no-block look for EFL, and he got dug off.
Somehow he got dug and then kicked it up and then
Crazy.
sent it over, and Lepke, I think it was in the 4th. I'm pretty sure I posted. It was in the 3rd. And I posted right after that. I was like, yeah, that's it. We're done.
That's it.
That's it. Like, that's it. I was like, when, like, and volleyball is such a momentum game too. And you need the karma on your side sometimes. Maybe not even karma, but just the momentum. And sometimes you've got it, and sometimes you don't. And today it was very clearly with Slovenia. Like, they had it, and for good reason, and they were rolling with it. This was a very, very good outing from them. I was a little surprised to see how shaky the Rock Mosic looked when he came into the match, but overall, like, dude, Tonček Stern, just an absolute warrior, breaking his finger, taping it back up, coming back in, dropping 24. Chebul was unreal. Earnout was unreal. They were just really, really good as a team. And they definitely deserve the win.
Agreed. Yeah, I was really impressed by how Slovenia played, and I kind of expect them to kill Serbia in their next game.
That one's going to be really interesting. I think this entire pool is going to be really interesting, and mostly because, like, Rob, we've seen it so many times at the Olympics that like weird shit happens.
Oh yeah,
weird shit happens, and weird stuff hasn't really happened yet. We're only through, like, all the men's teams have played one game, so we're, I mean, not even a third of the way through the entirety of the preliminary round for the men and the women. But I think like some weird shit is about to go down. I can kind of feel it in my bones.
I can too. This tournament is very, very far from over. But like the situation now for Canada standings wise, as we look at what Pool A looks like now, Canada, for all intents and purposes, is dead tied with Brazil. You both lost your first match. You both lost it in 4 and have 0 points in your pool. The difference is that Brazil gets likely a free win against Egypt.
Egypt, yeah.
So what Canada has to do is beat Serbia for 3 points. And then you need to hope that my take comes true and that Poland kills Brazil. That's the best case scenario for Canada, is that Brazil gets dominated by Poland on Wednesday at 3 a.m. Eastern. And then, I mean, Pool C is another crazy story too, because you have Argentina who got slapped, but Japan has a point in third place, kind of like Serbia does. Like there's still going to be plenty of nonsense that happens in this tournament.
Oh, that's it. Like, we've taken the first step of this journey, realistically, all around. But that being said, I do think that, like, it's going to take a lot for Canada to turn this around. I thought that if we were going to be able to pounce on Slovenia at any point, it was going to be in the first game. That was not the case. Slovenia was very, 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 very good.
Credit to them.
And they deserve it. So yeah.
I
did think, one real quick though, that Justin Louis played fantastic.
He was great.
He was really great. Once again, like, just all the credit to him. If you think that the way he played back in like 2022, when he first came onto this team, and when he was first getting involved, it was really, really not good. And yeah, he's been out there balling. So yeah, we're down there in last place, and you know what? If we don't end up making it out of pool, we don't end up making it out of pool, and we're still one of the youngest teams out there. And also, big shout out to all my haters in the chat. You're literally out here making us money by how much you're in the chat. And I love how much time you're spending to have this much hate in your heart.
Keep that energy going.
Keep that energy going from the Philippines, cheering for a team and a country that colonized you guys. Good job. That's really cool.
Clap back at the haters, my boy. But this tournament is not over yet, and we got more volleyball coming up tomorrow. We get the rest of the women's teams making their debuts. Everett, selfishly, I'm excited for this schedule from a North American perspective. I am not going to watch either of those first 2 games live because I'm going to sleep through Türkiye versus the Netherlands at 2 a.m. my time. I'm definitely going to sleep very soundly through Brazil versus Kenya at 6 a.m. my time. But then I'm going to be locked in for the United States women versus China at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. my time. That will be, in my opinion, the most interesting game tomorrow, followed by France versus Serbia on the women's side, which we'll see if Everett was correct about France winning the first set in that one. But
just the first. Yeah.
But USA China is going to be a banger, and we'll get a look at what Türkiye's roster situation is. I think that's going to be the most interesting information that comes out of tomorrow's games.
That has been one of the most talked about things so far.
Very talked about. We have the late. I don't even know if we've talked about the late switch. Ilkin Aydin being named to the roster. And Tuba Shinolu getting dropped off the roster like last minute.
Yeah, so many wild things. Once again, I kind of love that Türkiye is like this with volleyball now, where they're that intense that the win is on the line. They're going to be making these choices. We need more countries giving a damn like this.
We do. Passionate fan bases are good for the game, even ones that talk trash and that hate each other online. Like, all that stuff is good for the game.
I forgot.
Oh, beautiful. By the way, people are asking for the links to the Discord. We will say that for these videos themselves, because we expect them to reach a pretty wide audience, we are not putting the link to the Discord in the description. But if you want to go through our channel and find it, it's not that hard to find. I'll say that. We want to make you guys work a little bit. to find the Discord and join it and be a part of the community, but the direct link won't be anywhere in our Olympic videos, and I'll leave it at that. But you can find it if you want to find it. We encourage you to. If you are a diehard and you want to really get in the community and be active, then
no. If they're a
go for
diehard, they'd already be in the community.
Probably.
Yeah. That's like let's call a spade here.
You're right.
Right.
You're right
if,
about that.
If you were a diehard, you'd already be in the community.
Well, I am not enough of a diehard to wake up at 6 a.m. my time and watch Brazil 3-dawn Kenya. But we will be back tomorrow at a very similar time.
I have been really good about watching literally pretty much every second of Olympic volleyball so far. So I'm going to take a slight break tomorrow and sleep just a little bit.
But don't you worry. We'll be back tomorrow right after France versus Serbia, which will be the nightcap from Paris. And we'll be back on the show to chat, break it all down, get a download on all the women's teams that are getting back to action, and take a look at the rest of the tournament. So you all are in the right place for all the Olympic coverage, and we are stoked to have you here. And I'm excited about the Olympics, man. I'm excited about it.
Come talk more shit in the chat. We love it.
We do love it.
It gets
comments
us going.
too.
It literally
the comments, like the main comments after the video,
yeah.
talk as much trash there as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially to us.
Just keep talking more trash. 100%. Keep talking more trash, and just wait for us to. It'll in 2 minutes. This will be published as a video.
Give us a thumbs up as well. We got a phenomenal viewership. We love that you guys are watching it, and we would appreciate if you gave the video a thumbs up. That would be cool.
Give us a like.
Thanks, people. I'm gonna go hit a couple more birthday celebrations, and we'll see you all tomorrow. It's gonna be a fun time. I'm old now.